Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. Just wanted to say thanks for listening, and if you wanted to support the show, you can do so at patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. You can also leave us a review on iTunes, which would be super sweet. We don't get many of those, so get those reviews in, fellas and ladies, and anybody else who might be listening. And since this is the last time that we're going to be covering Avengers United They Stand, this will be the last time you hear me say the word Avengers. Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, the podcast where we are putting a bullet in this Avengers series, Gary. We're holding it down on the ground and we're shooting it in the head. Triple tap.
Avengers, we hardly knew you.
Yes, and I didn't want to know you anymore, because now we were
all
done.
Of our favorites. Density Robot. Arrow Man. Armor Ant.
Destiny Child.
Flying Boot. Destiny's Child. And Mrs. Armor Ant. Yeah.
Armor Ant.
And
really
Sunglasses Hunk. Yeah. Now
all
back.
good folks.
Shirtless Shades.
Yeah,
Buff Cyclops is back.
We are here to finish out the Avengers United They Stand series. Episodes 12 and 13 are a part 1 and a part 2, so that's why we kind of divided up our episodes. The last 2 episodes kind of weird. Yeah, this we mentioned this in the last episode of the podcast, Gary. This doesn't necessarily end. Like, if you guys are expecting closure about Wonder Man, I don't know why you would be. Like, if you're not just here for the goofs, I feel bad for you, friend.
You love Wonder Man, dude.
But if you're expecting closure on really any of this stuff, like the Zodiac, any of this, like, there's not. Like, it just kind of ends, and it ends in such a way that I literally looked it up on Wikipedia to see if there was an episode 14 that I had just forgotten to download.
Yeah, the Zodiac, it's not like it ends with the Zodiac, like, poised over Hank Pym's body ready to kill him, but it doesn't resolve the plot.
Yeah.
They had grand designs on making this them a recurring villain of some kind, or they had some kind of plans they didn't get to do. And we know about their plans, and their plans were dumb and didn't do this, and basically fuck this show.
Can we can we talk about some of their plans now, or do you want to do it at the end of the end of
show? Yeah, we can talk about what they're planning to do. So, like, they had when I had the same experience you did, where I got to the end and I was like, well, shit, that's it. And I went on online and looked up what their plans were for season 2, and they're really vague. And they're just like, well, we had an episode planned, like, where we were going to go back to Hawkeye's circus.
Yep.
And one with Thor.
The sentence is Thor and his brother Loki in a 2-part episode. That's it. That's
yes.
the whole. They didn't know what they were doing, but it's definitely got to be 2 parts.
One where Hulk comes and helps with Hank, because Hank gets some gamma poisoning, because particles are just particles in this show. Yeah. Pym particles, gamma particles. If you got particles, it's a particle party, and you have any and all particles.
The most exciting thing about that is that he got poisoned by Egghead, so it would be a return of our favorite villain, Egghead.
And the Hulk has a villain called the Leader, who is also kind of an Egghead figure.
Totally related.
And I would have loved to see
like a
those
half
guys
brother, half situation.
Team up.
Yeah.
The weird skull crew. You know?
The Dirty Dozen gear. They just got to find 10 more.
Everyone's got a different shape of it. And it spells like DOZEN, 1, 2. The weird shapes of their skulls. So we got the O's, but we just need people for an N shaped skull.
Trying to line up in a supervillain line and getting it all mixed up. The Zirty Doden. What does that mean? I don't understand.
Zirty Doden. I am Zirty Doden.
Oh man! But that was what could have been, and none of that actually happened because the show was so bad that it just everything got canceled for it right at the end.
Yeah, and they wanted this to be, the fact that we talked about a lot about how the show is just like totally toys first.
Yep.
And there's a Thor toy that's done in the style of these things because they were banking on that guest star. They were so like, we got him to sell toys. And it's a lot of people lost a lot of money on this shit.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm sure they did. I can't imagine how they would have armored Thor and Loki up though.
Oh my God, Loki?
Yeah. Whew. That would have been some bad shit right there.
Oh yeah. Like, can you imagine Loki's armor where he had those head spikes, but on his chest as well?
Yeah, because they gave those to Hawkeye, I think, just because. So imagine all of those armored up by Loki. That'd be really funny.
So, or can you imagine the Hulk's armor?
Oh my God!
If they,
you think you would just have purple pan armor?
Yeah,
just the purple pan armor,
tons of spikes and stuff.
and just like a excuse me, like a helmet. Just one helmet with like some shades, and that's all the armor that he gets.
That's why the dignified Avengers aren't in this show, because if you think about their armor, they just seem so stupid.
Yeah, Captain America, when he showed up, no armor. Like, he just was straight up in the
no
tights.
armor. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
And the episode was about that. Like, about how they don't need their armor because...
That's true. They made a whole thing
Baron
about
Zemo,
that.
Hit it with the...
never went back
to it.
Pulses. Fucking ridiculous.
Anyway, this is not about that. These final episodes are about the Zodiac. So it doesn't fulfill that plot. It goes and does other stuff. We're going to kind of do some stuff with the Zodiac here, but this is the series' second 2-part episode, and this series is not good at pacing for 2-parters. It's this is simultaneously boring, and it doesn't do everything it needs to do.
Mm-hmm. It feels like it's stretched out in a weird way, especially because it feels half done. And I don't understand, like, unless they were planning for this to be like a 4-parter or something. It's like, because X-Men had been really successful doing those like really long episode arcs, and I think the Dark Phoenix saga was something that everybody got super jazzed about when that was coming out. So maybe they were really kind of banking on doing some of these longer episode arcs and just couldn't put it together right.
Yeah, just not very good at it.
So just not really good at anything.
Yeah, they just didn't. You didn't nail it, Hank.
You didn't. No, you missed it.
You missed it. You blew it. So we're gonna get into how they blew it here, and then the show's just gonna end, or the Avengers is just gonna end, and that's just gonna be it. So this first episode, Earth and Fire, Part 1, February 19th, 2000. A scant 2 years before the greatest terror attack on American soil. Following Scarlet Witch successfully restoring...
Especially because it's wrong.
I put everything in release.
It's like a year and a half away. What are you talking about, Gary? It's not even the 11th. Why did you just see it 1-9? I feel like I'm a Radio Free Midworld if you're looking at 19 that way, man. Come on. What are you
doing? Following Scarlet Witch successfully restoring Wonder Man to good health, something is dangerously affecting the Earth's magnetic fields. Wasp realizes that her father's old business partner, Cornelius Van Lunt, is behind the disruptions and must face her past to save the planet. And that's a weird thing too. I wasn't expecting these episodes to be like Wasp-focused episodes.
Yeah.
And then realized out of all the Avengers, the Wasp has by far been given the least to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's done a couple of like action things, but she barely speaks, and she just pretty much just does whatever Hank tells her to do, or warns Hank not to do something that he's about to do. Like, that seems to be her 2 lines.
Yeah. She either tries to stop her husband from being stupid or ignores her husband when he's being stupid. And that's really it, So it's kind of weird for them to try to fit in a character focus episode on this last one too.
Yeah. Well, I think we've learned this, at the end of this, like it wasn't during a time where shows got to write their own endings. I think they just got their budget yanked for them and we're like, okay, you guys you can't do this. Put together what you have, try to make it something that we can put on air, and then that's all you get. Like, I'm sure they had better plans for this, but yeah. Or, I mean, I'm sure they had plans. Let's not say they're better or worse or anything.
If you can get this stable enough to run, then it ships.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's what they did. So, at the very least, they start off, like, they're not just, like, things are business as usual, which I appreciate. Like, hey, a bunch of bullshit happened. Let's do some tests on Wonder Man and, like, see if he's okay. He was in a weird Ultron coma.
I think this opening scene is probably my favorite part of these 2 episodes. It's Wonder Man, like, kind of meeting and greeting everybody, and there's so much stuff that happens. Like, Clint shows up and he's real excited to see Clint. Vision shows up, and then he realizes, oh, it's been months since I've been out, and the last thing I remember is that green and yellow fucker like blasting me with his weird eye beams. And then he gets breakfast.
Yeah, he gets his favorite breakfast, which we're going to camp out on his favorite breakfast for a minute, actually. But before that, did you notice Hawkeye and Wonder Man's also weird handshake?
Yes, yeah. I was hoping it would be the one from the first episode because I love that fist into flat palm, maneuver that they did. But I can't get over it, Gary. It's going to stay with me my entire life. Yeah. But yeah, they don't do that here. Instead, they opt for like a totally different thing where they just kind of like grasp weirdly.
It's a grasp, and like Hawkeye's forefinger and thumb are like between. His forefinger and thumb are between different sets of fingers. Like it's half interspersed, but not. Really. And then, I also want to point out during this entire thing, Wonder Man is shirtless and he looks like a weird fucking Hulk.
Yeah. Like
the decision to make him not wear clothes and the weird, like low detail models of this show make him look extremely strange.
I guess his nipples were too hot for TV, huh? Because that
heat signature nipples through the roof or whatever. Like I'm getting a heat reading.
I got a hot reading here.
Hot reading. His shoulders his supernaturally broad shoulders mean that his arms like go off of these. It's like he has shoulders that come off of his shoulders, and that's what his arms come out of.
Yeah,
like he's a really really weird looking model.
My favorite part of him being topless, by the way, is that they left the sunglasses on. Like, hey, we need to medically check you out. Leave your shoes and sunglasses on, and then take off your shirt.
Yeah, he never takes his sunglasses off. I think as far as in the whole series, which is really really weird. And no one told him like, hey, the guy who killed you is our new robot buddy here. Falcon's Falcon, Red Wing, shows up on his shoulder. And it's like I think he's met Falcon before. Like Falcon joined up after that, but they are both superheroes. And the line delivery is like the actor forgot Red Wing's name.
Hello.
He's just like, hey, it's you,
friend. He literally calls it a friend.
Yeah, he's like, it's my good friend. It's very funny. Like, this is probably the highlight of these episodes. And then Jarvis is the one who brings us breakfast. And let's talk about this breakfast on the hover tray.
Okay, so before we get to the breakfast, let's talk about the hover tray for a minute, because Tony Stark can't invent a hover tray that just hovers. It has to float up and down constantly. This seems like it's so fucking dangerous. I can clearly see a coffee pot on here. I'm sure it's sloshing around in there, ready to spill on somebody.
I'm also going to say if you can invent a hover tray, maybe you don't need Jarvis. It's like pretty much what Jarvis does.
There's a moment where Wonder Man decides he's going to get breakfast in bed, and the hover tray just follows him over there. And I'm like, what is Jarvis doing?
It's really into it. Like Jarvis has this little app where he's controlling the drone.
Oh, it's definitely like a quadricopter under there, isn't it? Like he's got the AR drone.
Yeah.
Also, extremely here for
the scone drone.
The scone drone.
Yeah. Send it in the scone drone.
I'm extremely here for Clint stealing what looks like a fried egg off the plate and eating it just with his hands. Great.
Weird animals.
Clint, get your weird dirty ass gloves out of my favorite breakfast that I haven't eaten for months.
My favorite breakfast, which is an entire ham.
Hell yeah. Same, Wonder Man. Same.
A plate with just a huge stack of fried eggs, like individual units of fried eggs on it, which I definitely eats one like a tortilla chip.
Yep.
A basket, like a cornucopia of fruit, a pitcher of coffee, and like conservatively 20 pancakes, like absolutely drenched in butter.
Which, I mean, if we compare it to the ham, those pancakes have to be like, they have to have a radius of about they have to have a diameter of about a foot. You think? I mean,
these are big Paul Bunyan flapjacks.
And I'm sure it's just the coloring, but it's the syrup looks so yellow that I just can't imagine. I just imagine that they just put like 18 sticks of butter and then some syrup on it, and then put it in the microwave to melt it.
Yeah, it's so fucking gross. And he's already taken a big bite out of the ham hock.
Oh, yeah. That's how you eat ham hock, fucking A. I'm in for that. That's the best part.
There's another plate, too, that I'm trying to figure out what is on it. So we got the 4 breakfast items so far, but maybe it's bacon? And that makes it really weird that Hawkeye grabbed an entire egg rather than a piece of bacon.
I don't know. I rewound a little bit so I could kind of see, and it looks like a mound of like kind of like meat. It doesn't even look like it has definition.
it's just some Euro leavings.
I don't know what the fuck that could be. Oh no, okay. So there's one thing. This will be the image of for the cover art right here. We'll just go ahead and make that happen. But it's definitely bacon. So
okay, pretty great. Everyone can just him being breakfast and bread and hanging out with all his bros is very funny. Vision, of course, is very jealous.
Of course, yeah, because he can't eat.
Because he can't eat pancake one.
Vision has a bad heart. All of this stuff will go right to his thighs, man. Like he can't have this kind of cholesterol. He can have black coffee if it's decaf. He got
and it can only have sweet and low in it.
He got Wonder Man's brain engrams and his heart disease engrams. That's how Vision got.
And also his lack of gallbladder. So we switch over to the Zodiac.
Yes.
Here, where Weird Scorpion Head is talking to Weird Minotaur.
Mm-hmm. And they're using a bunch of like $10 words here that, we've achieved magno-electric lock and we're closer to the grand galactic convergence. Like all of this sounds like just garbage words to me, Gary. Like none of this shit makes any kind of sense.
No, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
But they keep going back and we've seen this like Zodiac key thing before that they're trying to open. Do you know where this is? Like, is this at Lunt's thing or is this just somewhere else on the Earth?
So here's the thing. They show them talking. And then the camera looks outside on them, and it looks like they're playing The Sims. Like they're playing a building and they've cut away the ceiling so you can design inside it. They're on the top floor of a building that has walls but not a ceiling. And it looks like it's just in a city. Like it looks like this is just in New York with the Avengers.
Yeah, because when the camera panned up, like before as the establishing shot came in, like it was Lunt's building. Like they show you as like so it has to be in the city because Jan's going to get way too tarded up and go visit this place in a little while.
I think Lunt maybe lives in Germany or something like that.
Okay, sure.
Or Russia. No, he lives in Russia, I believe. So I think they're somewhere in Russia. They're talking about just their plan, essentially just to become a god. Like the details don't really matter.
Mm-hmm. They start
the
their
two-headed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the two-headed thing shoots beams at Earth. And starts making magnetic electric disasters, which cause like earthquakes and tidal waves and avalanches and shit.
Yep.
So
it's not good, is what it is. Yeah. Everything's breaking and everything's bad.
Yep.
This is where we get the scene between Wonder Man and Wanda, where she's like, "Oh yeah, like we totally had to save you. We had to put your brain stuff into Vision, which means that he's kind of part of you." And he's like, "Wait a minute, does that mean you've been boning him?" And before she can answer, like weird shit starts happening. Like he starts getting like a bunch of like pink, energy bolts coming out of him. Yeah,
and his glasses earlier, there was foreshadowing about this because his glasses glowed pink.
Yeah, I thought he was just.
So I guess they're part of his body.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's why they can't take them off.
Yeah, those are his eyes. It's really weird. It's all one big pupil.
That he was just real excited about the ham, like because I know my eyes do that when I see a nice honey baked ham on the table.
Whenever ham enters the room, like glasses do that. So they bring him to the medical table to analyze him, and they're like, okay, it's some kind of interference with his electromagnetic field. We can't quite explain it.
Yeah, nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. But that doesn't matter because
he's put on a shirt.
Yeah. Zagorski, the government agent, comes in and was like, "Hey, have you guys been like watching fucking CNN like it's your job to do?" Because the Earth is exploding. One time you turned off
Twitch because like the one time you guys don't have a stream window open up in the second monitor, things have gone bad.
Look what happens. Hank even tries to defend himself. He's like, "We've had a lot going on over here," and the guy like points to a second thing and is like, "Hey, look at this Twitch stream of the world dying."
Yeah. Everyone's going to die. So they decide to be superheroes. The team isolates 3 crisis points.
Yes.
And Jan has this idea. Jan says, like, hey, my father's old partner, this guy named Cornelius Van Lunt, knows a lot about magnetic electrics, like magnetoelectrics. Because my dad worked in that. He can help with that. And Hawkeye doesn't like it. And Hawkeye's right. He's being an asshole. It doesn't really make sense. But his intuition just shows that he knows.
Yeah.
I guess.
He's got that Wolverine sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Smell. So Hank splits up the team, one for each crisis point, and then Jan to go do like this is kind of what happened when they went to France too.
Yeah,
she just got to hang out with the ambassadors. Like poor Wasp.
See you later, Jan.
Treating Wasp.
Is it like this in the sequel? Like does that chick just not have anything to do?
She has everything to do.
Awesome.
Like she's she's the most capable person on screen at any given time. She's awesome.
That's great.
So yeah, it's really good. It's a good movie, man. I think you'd like it. Like it's real fun.
Oh,
so.
I know. I didn't even go see Mission Impossible 5 in the theater. Like I'm fucking up with my life here.
Yeah. Yeah, you have a new dog.
That's true.
Yep. So they're gonna head out.
Yeah.
At this point.
I wish I could relay how much talking is around like this decision or whatever, because it takes a long fucking time for them to come up with this plan that I immediately, like, there was 3 points. You guys have 6 people. Yeah, do the thing.
The plan is go look at the place. You know, and it took them this long to figure out, go look at the place.
Oh, man.
They armor up, and some of them are now in their new Arctic armor.
Yes.
So our final new armor that we get to see.
And Scarlet Witch actually has armor for the first time, and she has got a seriously exposed midriff, which, I mean, I know it's kind of a dumb thing to you know, dunk on media for nowadays because it's so obvious, but come on, y'all. What? It's still bad. Extremely ugly, too, because, like, the Scarlet Witch, I can think of one color that's associated with the Scarlet Witch. Is it green?
It's not green. For some reason, they dress her up like a fucking Christmas tree and make her green and red, and I do not understand why.
Same, man.
Like,
absolutely not.
Yeah, it's a really, really bad decision here. So they're all heading out. They all get into 3 separate Quinjets, which I did not realize they had. They tell Wonder Man to stay home, and Wonder Man comes in. He's like, "Of course I'm going to come." You know, and they're just like, "All right," you know, and they head out.
Yep. And Taurus decides, like, "Oh, hey, Jan's coming to see me. I guess I need to transform back into my human form, which is Cornelius Van Lunt." Which, I mean, if you guys knew that, you should really be dogging him for that.
Yeah, and I just don't understand. Like, he says it like it's like a cool thing to do. You know, like there's a chance that he might forget and just confront Jan as the gigantic Minotaur. So like, yes, I am Father Friend. Know much about magnetic.
Submit that to America's Funniest Home Videos, huh?
It's like you know, it would beat Dad with dick hanging out of robe. So yeah, he turns into this, and then we get this subplot about Hank and Jan like fighting.
Yep, this is really strange.
Yeah, like this whole thing where Hank is just like, you know, you don't have to prove yourself to your father. He's no longer there anymore, you know, and she's just like, you could let me do this. And they're like fighting. And I'm like, this is really out of nowhere. Like, you know, say what you will about the Avengers, and we have like, or this cartoon, they introduced a lot of subplots that they didn't, you know, fill out, but they introduced them at least. Like this whole love triangle with Scarlet Witch and Wonder Man and Vision has been like laid down. You know, like that has been established.
It's kind of like Square if you include Namor in that, I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. You could Namor, like everyone wanting to bone Scarlet Witch has been established. This whole section has not. Like this is just very weird.
This is very strange. This protracted Jan getting ready for it too is something that I think it's very strange. Like they show her clearly putting like heavy lipstick on. She's wearing a dress that we've never seen her wear before. She's doing up her hair.
She's getting sexy for it.
Exactly. And then there's a little bit of like when she finally gets there, there's a little bit of like weird sexual subtext to it. Like he's like, "You used to call me uncle," and she's like, "Well, I'm all grown up now." Like, what the fuck is happening?
What the fuck?
What are you doing?
And when Hank is like, you know, "You don't have to do this," she's like, "You don't have anything to worry about," and like kisses him on the cheek. You know, like again, like she's going off to go cuck him.
Yeah. And leaves like the lipstick mark. And like it's just it's such a weird thing that doesn't like it's all going to feed into like Jan's insecurity about her father owning like a weapons factory or whatever, or weapons company. But none of that really works with this dude. Like I don't know, like why is she? What is this dressing thing that she's doing? I have no clue where any of this is coming from. I feel like I missed an episode when all of this started.
Yeah, it's very weird, and the fact that she's trying to seduce her, you know, her father's old business partner.
Yeah,
I find pretty strange.
She leaves, and we get this very creepy picture of Hank like looking out at her on the window, like clearly deciding like I'm going to insert myself into this somehow, some way.
Yeah,
and then it's off to where we check in on all of our disparate teams, where where all of them are there. But none of them can sense or detect any of this electromagnetic interference that they were seeing before.
Yep, they didn't go with any instruments or anything.
Yeah.
They just wanted to know if like maybe it will make evil noises.
Sure. Maybe I'll hear it. I'm in a jet plane, but maybe I'll hear it. All of this is kind of bad. Like when the lava starts,
real boring.
Yeah, this is all like super boring. I can't even make jokes about this except for Scarlet Witch's weird green helmet.
So they're pretty much doing like they can't find their source, but they're doing like disaster relief. Like they're trying to prevent the lava from destroying villages, doing superhero shit, but that's not what they came to do. You know, it's still pretty silly. And the reveal here is as Cornelius, and he introduces somebody with the last name Fury. Did you notice that?
Yeah, this is later going to be turned into Scorpion. Like this is Scorpion's like civilian clothes or whatever. Scorpio's civilian clothes. And I don't like Fury is such a recognizable name in the Marvel universe. I don't know why you would do this and not like not follow up on it.
Why would you use that name? It's very weird. They call him like, you know, Ben Fury or something like that. So the big reveal here is that Ant-Man, who doesn't trust his wife, snuck in tiny form to watch her, watch her seduce an ancient man.
Yeah,
while a purple hunchback nearby, you know, looks on.
I'm really surprised that there's not like an Ant-Man detection thing in this like giant scientific golden lab that he leads her into. Like it seems kind of an oversight to not have your Avenger detector turned on when you go to your evil lab.
And they talk about it. Like she's like she says the whole point of her meeting. She's like, you know, you had been doing that research. You know, is it possible that it fell into the wrong hands? And he's like, it's impossible. Our security is too tight. While Ant-Man's like, hee. And then kind of walks in as a little micro Ant-Man. And it's like, I get that, you know, that they're going for a kind of irony there, but that irony is not what happened. Like that would be ironic if somebody did steal this. But in fact, the truth is that this business partner has always been a weird space god, you know, so it's like way less cool. You know? Like that's not the irony they're going for. There's an A-B disagreement here.
Yeah, and this whole thing is just super weird, Gary. I don't really particularly like any of this, and they just kind of shoo her off. They're like, okay, yeah, I'll send you all of our information. Don't worry about it, honey. See you later.
Yep. So they go back into their secret sanctum, turn back into their monster forms, and Scorpio's like she knows, and the Taurus is like she doesn't know anything. She's like she knows something. They're kind of going back and forth about that. But they're like, you know, it doesn't matter because we'll do our next energy burst. And the next one comes out, it's at full power.
Yeah, before
it causes more Earth disasters.
I also, when they change into their human forms, Scorpio just like his clothes just shred off his body like he hulks out with it. And I just kind of really love because he was wearing some extraordinarily fancy like clothes. So the fact that he's rebuying all that stuff every single day is really great to me.
I like the idea of him just having a big closet full of them. So it's very good.
Taurus also got some armor, by the way. I don't know if you noticed that his pants are armored up now. So
yeah, he puts some studs in his leather.
So the new beams cause even more destruction, and our Avengers get to do more rescuing stuff, like more lava redistribution. Like they start changing the flow of the lava like 4 or 5 times. It feels like there's an avalanche.
Hawkeye is interviewing a guy about this happening. Yeah. He's like, and the guy's like, you know, there's a sound. And like Hawkeye's like, what kind of sound? He's like, just like that one. And then the sound happens again. And they switch to this weird triptych where it's showing the 3 different beams.
Yeah. But just
and Hawkeye in the middle.
Yeah. Really fucking weird.
The show has never done anything like this before. It's just like, why are we doing that?
They're going all out. It's their last hurrah, Gary.
We finally get to use this technique. I saw this in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and
Matt has been working on this for years. Let him have his day.
Like, let my grandson Jody do a scene. So the superheroes do some superhero like rescue stuff, and like even in comics, I get a little bit bored when superheroes are fighting natural disasters.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like not that interesting.
Here's my problem with this when they start fighting natural disasters is this: if they do it once, I feel like they should do it all of the time. Like this should be
the thing, right?
You can't just like show up to Hurricane Katrina and then not show up for Gustav a couple of years later. I'm sorry. Like the Avengers have set the expectation that you will be here for hurricane relief, and if you don't show up, I'm going to call you an asshole. I'm going to do it on my TV show or my podcast. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yep. And you can, you know, there could be just superheroes who are just dedicated to this. and it would make sense in the world, and they just don't get books about them.
Gee, I wonder what a superhero like that would be named. Something like
some kind of planet-defending superhero,
or just Storm, maybe a
Storm. Yeah.
They could just stop.
So there's no reason for there to be. And so what Storm would say then would be like, that would upset the natural balance or some nonsense like that, But this is still super silly. The takeaway, the important thing, is that Wonder Man, while he's doing this, switches into energy mode. Like the beams that have been affecting him turn him into this weird energy skeleton, which actually is like pretty comics accurate, the way this looks. I don't know how it happened, but I had an action figure that was Wonder Man who looked like this.
Oh, weird. With the weird purple and pink thing happening? Yeah. That could be actually kind of dope. I could see that looking pretty good.
It was cool. It was super cool looking. So like that was that happened to Wonder Man, and this is how it I don't know if it was the same thing in the comics, but here's how it happens here.
Yeah. I don't know anything about Wonder Man from the comics. I don't think I would be amazed if I had read a Wonder Man comic book at any point in my life.
I barely know anything about him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he turns into a weird thing. Hank and the Wasp and a government guy are talking about just, the boring science side of this episode.
Yeah.
Hank's like, I know about this stuff that's going on, this electromagnetics shit.
And he's able to like kind of do this detection thing, and Jan is immediately like suspicious. She's like, wait a minute, how did you know about this? You followed me. And he's like, well, of course I did. You didn't tell me everything about your father ever. Like, excuse me? Like, hey, dial it down a little bit, homie. Like, have a conversation with your wife. Don't just follow her around.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating. So Jan feels guilty because this is this attempt at character development where he's saying like, let go. She's like, all the nice things I had growing up were because of weapons, because my father was a weapons dealer. And he's like, that's not your fault. And it never really resolves or anything, and it's not particularly good. And then they decide to go to the lab. And it's like, actually, there's something fishy. I was an Ant-Man there, so I saw some fishy shit. Let's head back.
So they decide to go back to Van Lent's lab. And from here, I think we go back to Hawkeye and the weather guy.
We go to Hawkeye, who is the one guy who couldn't prevent his disaster. So the guy with the bow and arrow couldn't stop snow.
Yeah, I love the fact that they're like, how are we going to get up there? We can't walk. And he's like, touches his like communicator belt buckle and is like, hey, just the plane, come here. And the plane's just like, okay.
Yep, just crawls out of the snow on its own.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Here. Falcon flies up to another one in his dumbass armor. And Tiger runs into Leo, who you got him as a yellow cat with bracelets, but he's much closer to Blanca.
Oh man, how did I not pick up Blanca? You're absolutely right.
Yeah, he's Blanca. I don't know. So a lot of this thing, during these next two episodes, we're going to get a lot of Tigra cutting over to fighting with Blanca.
Yes. And boy, if you thought Tiger growling when she talked was bad before, wait till you have two of them doing it.
Yeah. Double Tigra action. She gets slammed into a cliff, which shows another, and it's like Sagittarius or something, I don't know. Another Zodiac character who's like an evil
Sagittarius
lady.
is the horse guy that shows up later, so it's not him. I don't know who this chick
Virgo
is
or something. I don't know.
These two episodes have really tested my Zodiac knowledge, Gary. Apparently I'm not. I thought I knew a little bit, like I would have never said a lot, but I don't even know that much. I don't even know the Zodiac. I can't come up with a name for this chick.
They're just doing dumb cat puns. We switch back over to Scarlet Witch checking on Wonder Man to see, who's turning purple. And Vision gets hit in the back by a bow and arrow from Sagittarius the Centaur, who, like, I think it's a really hackneyed to, like, bag on Hawkeye for just having a bow and arrow, because, like, in real life, like, a bow and arrow could take me really easily. If you have a bow and arrow, then I'm done.
What about this Nerf
so it's like
bow and arrow looking motherfucker that this guy has? Because this dude looks like he's just shooting, like, foam bow and arrows.
It does have, they do have blunted tips. They blow up. They're explodey tips. But just like Vision with his super android hearing couldn't hear that coming and just do his special trick, It's so dumb for a robot centaur with a bow and arrow to take out the Avengers.
It's also, it's a robot centaur.
That also sucks.
It's kind of shitty. Who is green guy with the Morning Star?
I have no idea who that thing
cool.
shows up and it fades away as if we're supposed to know who he is.
I don't know. What does a morning star have to do with anything? So I'll probably get myself in trouble.
It's a morning star.
There's going to be some Zodiac person on Twitter. Like, yeah, anyway.
Yeah. Okay, astrology majors, put it away.
Yeah, put down the deck of cards, man. I don't care.
Yeah.
Ares the Ram shows up to Hawkeye. So, and he just literally does his own thing, which is like, I'm going to ram some rocks off and make them hit Hawkeye.
Yeah. And it works. So the Zodiac firmly have the upper hand at this point. We switch over to Ant-Man and the Wasp. We're breaking into the Taurus zone where Scorpio and Taurus have set their machines to maximum power.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And and then when Ant-Man and the Wasp are in there, there's a great little bit where the Wasp shoots a keypad with her little blasters to open it. They're going in all tiny, and they just find out about these machines essentially.
Yeah, they go into Van Lunt's office, and like she basically just hacks in, but apparently not very well because she does set off the alarm. I hate all of this. This is so fucking boring, Gary.
And we're gonna spend a lot of time on this B plot next time. We have to talk about for a moment the space they're going into, this place where a meteor hit, and like as a little wink to the audience, Hank is like, it could have been an aliens crash for all I know, because we know the Zodiac are aliens. These robots that pop in, good night, dude. Like the designs on these things. Here I'm waiting for one to pop up. So they look like they have big onks on their chest.
Of course they do.
For some reason.
Yeah, sure.
Like
that's a Zodiac thing, like right?
I don't think so. Weird sentinel onks that pop in. Extremely weird looking robots. They knock them out, and then we move on to the finale of the series, weirdly enough. Earth and Fire Part 2, February 26, 2000. Someone wants an ancient meteorite buried beneath an island. The reason for the disruptions in the Earth's magnetic fields. The Avengers have a final showdown with the Zodiac gang.
Someone, Gary.
Kinda.
Just lifting the weight in that just someone wants it. We know who it is. We spent 20 minutes on this already. What are you doing?
Yeah. That passive voice. We start with a really long recap of this. Where it just shows what happened in the last episode for like quite a while. Like this show does a lot to try to avoid doing new animation.
Yeah, and it's only
I'm
been
looking through it now. It's fully two minutes. 2 minutes of straight recap. No exaggeration. So, pretty
Breaking Bad doesn't even do 2 minutes of recap, Gary. What are you doing?
Nobody does. Very dumb. So Hank wakes up. The robots are still there though, and then Jan, in order to stop them from getting shot, grabs Hank and shrinks them both, which I did not know she could do. She can shrink other people. That's a real game changer.
Your guess is as good as mine. I love the way they decide to destroy these computers, which is by being small and shooting them.
Yeah. Yep. They get all shrunken down and they shoot them. I'm generally down for when these guys get tiny, but it's pretty not very exciting. They shoot the computers, which I don't know what that's doing necessarily either.
Yeah, they've already got the plans. They've already made the stuff.
It just happened. Like the things have already happened. The bad things you're trying to prevent. There's a cool shot. I got again, I'll shout out things when they're cool, of Hank Pym flying down a row of keys on a keyboard that looks like a trench.
Cool.
Like a Star Wars trench. I think that's cool.
That's the word you're going for.
Yeah,
why is he shooting the N key? It's a fucking keyboard.
I don't know why he's shooting. He doesn't understand how computers work. That's the thing. I use to control the computer. If I get rid of that, they can no longer access their files.
Jesus.
I just think it's a cool visual image. I like things that play with scale like that. But they do. It's pretty dumb. They just fly between the robots, and the robots don't stop shooting until they shoot each other.
Yeah.
Until then they shoot the robots, and the robots blow up. So they could have done that in the first place. They leave, and the entire building blows up.
Good deal.
So I don't know.
Guys. It was a real important key, is what happened.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you made fun of the N key, but it was. He had one of those like novelty panic buttons put on his keyboard, and Hank just pressed it. Pretty ridiculous. They get out. They have a little talk. Jan's like bad about her dad being an arms dealer. Hank says no, it's Lunt's fault. Remember the computer. Jan says no, it's my responsibility. Scorpio and Taurus go to the blown up office, and Taurus doesn't care because he's about to rip the planet apart, because of course he doesn't care, because this is the heroes doing something like way too late.
What is the if this plan succeeds and he actually like ripped the thing up, like he's still on Earth, like are they just going to go to his spaceship? Is that what his plan is? Because he doesn't seem real concerned about the Earth blowing up as he is on top of it.
As he's on it, yeah, I don't actually know.
Yeah.
What
don't actually care. Don't not.
Yeah,
worry about
I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. Yeah, this should be very easy to do, I think. Like this is not that complicated of a plot, and they still managed to make it quite this boring. Like, yeah,
why did you start with the 2/3 power?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So we switch back, and we're just going to kind of cut. We're kind of almost to the final scenes of this. We're just going to cut back and forth between these scenes we've already established of these fights.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting going back and forth. I do want to call out that Falcon has Red Wing, his pet hawk, activate his crash armor.
Yeah.
Which I just think is a real funny thing to have. I don't know why. Like, crash armor really cracks me up.
Mm-hmm. It's like a Mega Man ability.
Yeah.
He does it because he gets hit by a hold person spell and is falling out of the sky. And then his bird can voice activate his thing that makes his armor burst up and explode the hold person spell.
Sure.
Or he makes it as they're falling, he makes the bird press his belt buckle. So cool.
Not the first time that's happened, is it?
Yeah, that's probably not. But he survives with his armor. Against whatever Zodiac thing he's fighting.
Yeah.
Wild Tiger's not doing well against Blanca. As they're kind of going back and forth and fighting forever.
Yes, this is taking a long time. And the whole goal of this is supposed to be, like, Falcon is supposed to be, like, going to take out the device. There is a good scene here where he flies back up to the unnamed woman, and he throws his Falcon rocket at her from his ankles, and she's like, "Do you think that'll stop me?" And then the rockets hit her and just blows the shit out of her. It's so good.
Like, yes, I did think that.
Yep, I did, and I was right.
It's pretty good. She's just got a force field up, and these rockets are even different than the rockets he had before. Like, I just watched that scene, and the rockets he had before faced the same way he was facing. These ones face down. He has to kick his legs forward to shoot these.
It's different armor there.
So, I guess that's true.
Seems like a design flaw, Hank Pym.
Well, and also he sends her into a volcano, which sets the volcano off to make the tiger fight more dramatic. But like, he's just caused like a natural disaster by throwing that Zodiac person into an active volcano.
And then for the second time,
is what it looks like.
The solution to a problem is tricking the enemy into shooting something.
Yeah. As long as you can get an enemy to shoot, like, you don't have to bring your own beams to any of these fights. The enemies will bring beams for both of you. Because she shoots beams and he just flies until she shoots the laser, that's causing these problems. So, and like, it's kind of weird that they're on Earth. I don't know what the lasers are actually shooting at.
Yeah, I don't.
So like, you put a turret on Earth and then it shoots into space and causes earthquakes on Earth.
Or I think that, I mean, I don't know, and I don't really care that much either. But like, they're shooting beams from space at these devices. Maybe I don't know, man.
Maybe It doesn't look like that though. Like, they're not set up as dishes. They're not set up as like receivers.
Yeah, I mean,
they have barrels.
But then they show Gemini in space like shooting shit down. So like, who the fuck knows?
It's like a gun. You have to shoot the beam into another gun. They're fucking dry docking this shit, dude. I'm like, I don't know. So they escape. That's one success. Falcon rescues Tigra from Blanca, and they escape that island. They've taken out one of those things. Good for them. We switch over to Hawkeye, where he destroys his thing. He knows to focus fire on the thing that's the mission objective.
Yeah.
Rather than just spar.
He just shoots an arrow at it and it blows up. Good job, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Which is the first time I've said that in 13 fucking episodes.
And the only time you'll say it. And then Ares comes to go attack him, but Ares teleports away.
Yeah. So
Hawkeye is the most competent. Weird Ball and Chain guy shows up to Wonder Man, Vision, and Wanda. So like 3 of the most powerful Avengers versus this one. What if there was a robot centaur and a guy with a ball and chain? Oh, you mean the Absorbing Man? No, Absorbing Man without his powers.
Yeah. Absorbing Man who was absorbed one guy, and he kind of sucks now.
And the power of this, of one of the lesser Imperial guards. But Wonder Man, now that he has his energy abilities, is able to steal the ball and chain. And there's a real good shot where he like looks at him like, and he's swinging the ball and chain. Like, guess who's got it now? Wraps it around his feet and knocks him into a pit.
That's
so,
the third time that the solution was knocking an enemy into a pit. So I'm just saying, I sense some patterns happening here.
The Ultron special.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sagittarius shows back up because, of course, he does.
Yep.
There's a kind of a weird scene where he shoots an arrow at Vision, and Vision like does his like I'm transparent thing. And the way that this shot is drawn, I really thought that the arrow was just going to hit Wonder Man behind him, and Vision was going to be like, "Whoops, my bad, didn't see that coming."
I get all the bananagrams now, but yeah, it does not happen. But for an unrelated reason, Wonder Man becomes a firework.
Yes,
and goes up into the sky and shoots a lot of beams. But Scarlet Witch uses her power to make Sagittarius' arrow go back at him.
Yep.
So cool. And then Wonder Man is shooting beams again at the ground, like he's fucking everything up because he has electromagnetic powers. And I think Vision just rescues him, if I remember.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, yeah. Yep.
I think he just exhausts himself and like explodes, and like they just fly back over and he's okay. Like I think that's pretty much it. Like there's not a whole lot going on with Wonder Man.
yeah. And it's supposed to be character development for Vision because he could, he chose that he cares more about her than he does about, he still wants her to live even if she's going to be with Wonder Man.
Yes.
So her big exploding boyfriend. So okay, fine. They leave. Hank and Jen can't land the plane to where they're going, to where they've done everything because the ground is too unstable.
Yeah.
And this, they're going to that one place where the meteor is.
Yes, the island that it hit originally. Yeah. And Hank figures this out pretty quick. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I can tell because I'm 6 feet away from it now that something hit it eons ago, and maybe it was aliens or something. Like that's why the Zodiac is ripping all this apart. Like, guys, the show has already told us this. Like, we don't need to see the heroes figure it out too.
And this show has a real problem with that in general.
Absolutely, yeah. Although they do have they go flashback, like what's happening with our team members? Did they kill the devices? Like they did. Check out this Twitch.tv that I have up here. Isn't that the website? Isn't that the website that does that? And but all of their communication's lost. So they don't actually know what happened, and they just know that Wonder Man was in danger. And so it's time to leave the plane because the plane can't fly anymore because it's filled with lava now. Or something. I don't know where the lava comes from.
Gas. Like lots of poison is coming up from the ground.
Yeah.
Apparently here. Jet gets damaged. The Zodiac's plane shows up because they've got a big plane now and they're going to take them out, but the Wasp flies them out in time. And all the villains show up, including a bunch of them we haven't seen for a while. Like the first time they show this up, that water wizard guy who was absolutely the alpha guy, he's here. There's a weird, when it shows all 12 of them arranged, there's a weird crab man. Did you get a load of cancer? On my file, it's at 13 minutes and 58 seconds.
Okay, yeah.
Crab man's real weird. I wish we could have gotten some crab man, but he doesn't do anything.
So
during this,
Garrett. Let's freeze frame right here. There are definitely so there's designs in the ground. I thought those were other animals that were around.
I thought so too.
Yeah. So that's definitely their design. I guess that I don't know. Like beside the crab guy to the right, like who is that chick? She's just green.
We haven't seen her yet.
Pink boots on. That's got to be Aquarius in the top left. I don't. Who are any of these people?
It's pretty difficult to tell. Like I need to find the comics. Like other than Aquarius, Gemini, Cancer, Sagittarius, Taurus, Serpico or whatever. Those are very easy to tell. Scorpio.
Aries.
Other ones are just kind of Aries.
I feel like I'm having to make a
it's pretty tricky to tell the other ones. Yeah, these are rough. I gotta read a comic with these fuckers in it at some point, just to understand. Because I gotta see that crab man.
I bet it is not good. I bet it is very bad.
Yeah. I mean, when they were just humans and they fought Nick Fury, those are like good spy comics, but they're just going to be humans.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that fun. Like when they turn into these weird alien things, I bet you they're super not good. So, these are like fucking toxic Avengers villains. Like this is really rough.
Yeah, this is not great.
Yeah. Anywho, the villains all assemble. They're going to start their ritual.
Yes.
And Jan leaves to go stop them. Hank's like, oh, you can't do this on your own. You don't have to do that. It's not about my dad. Of course it's not. These are aliens that dressed up as your dad's roommate.
Literally,
like it's...
No, you have not said your dad's name one time in this episode. Yeah. Nobody knows what his name is. Jan's dad. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't like. Of course, it's not about your dad.
She's having an argument with somebody who's not there. Like, just like, why do you keep saying it's about my dad? And like, honey, nobody's saying that.
I feel like
nobody.
And Hank is just gaslighting her too, right? Like, just
yeah.
Like, oh no, it's totally not about your dad. Like he's leaning into it too much, and I don't understand that either.
Damn it, Hank. So she goes off. It's about her. It's not about her dad. She's got to be our hero. This is her only bit of character development in this whole series.
Mm-hmm. It took 13 episodes, but here we are.
Here we go. The ritual is working. It's pulling up this meteorite. All the He-Man villains are standing in a circle, shooting beams out of their hands.
Yes.
To pull this up. And Jan comes in to interrupt the ritual in Shrink-Unique mode.
Yep. And while this is happening, the ritual is actually pulling up this meteorite. Like, starts coming out of the lava, and we see it for the first time.
Yep.
Ant-Man is down on site. Somehow he's got his jet back. I think we haven't really talked about this, Gary, but he has a jetpack backpack. Is that what we'd call it? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. That seems about right to me.
Because I was wondering where he got it, but then I realized he keeps it on his back, and so when he shrinks in it, he can just the backpack, the jetpack backpack doesn't. Boy, I feel like I'm on a Teenage Dirtbags episode here if I don't stop that. That doesn't shrink, and he can jump in it, and he can go help Jan.
Yeah, it's he shrinks. It's pretty actually kind of cute, I think. I'm going to use that word again. I think it's kind of cool. He goes to help. She just goes in and zaps everybody in the face to distract them from shooting beams. There's a part where Taurus says you deal with her. The lady who is fighting Falcon comes forward, and the perspective makes it really like she's just going to stomp on Jan. That's
what I thought too.
She's crushing a human under your foot and just the bones breaking and stuff.
There's also a really good scene when she does interrupt them from shooting the beams. Everybody, all of the Zodiac, looks down at their hands like, hey, what happened? What's the matter?
Yeah.
I was working here.
So she's shooting, she keeps missing. Hank shows up, and Hank, this is supposed to be a hero moment for Hank, but he's been a shitty husband this whole time, where he's supporting her. He gets real big, and they just fuck everybody up. Every single one of the Zodiac just gets their ass kicked by Giant Hank Pym and Tiny Wasp. And if you could do this, why haven't you done this?
Why have you not done this already? Why don't you do this for the entire show? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Also, the action is is directed really weird because we don't. All we see are the villains getting thrown, and then we see we hardly ever see him do anything until Blanca comes up and they start fighting a little bit.
Yeah, there's a pile of villains, through there. But he's just ultra competent all of a sudden just because he's big, Takes them all out. They're falling. Blanca is kind of pulling him off the ship. He gets knocked out. The mace guy finally gets to use his Morning Star, knocks Hank out of the thing. He's hanging by the edge, but the rest of the Avengers show up in their individual jets and shoot lasers at the villain ship.
Yep.
And it starts blowing up.
So they're not going to be able to go to space now, unless they have a second spaceship, which, I mean, I have to imagine that Taurus spent all of his money on the first one. So
Yeah. And his office building blew up.
Yes.
So all his stocks. They're going to go down into the thing to pull it up with individual beams.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Zodiac get on all their hover bikes to try to get their star and go down there. Everyone's got an individual hover bike in this fucking
every single person, man. It's crazy. What do you think these things run on? Is it
carpool?
It's just
shit.
Everybody, it's so much faster.
Yeah.
The ship blows up into a bunch of different pieces, which is the first time a ship has done that in this show. So I kind of appreciated the fact that they were like, "Oh yeah, we're going to have some not paraphernalia. What is the word that I'm looking for?
Debris.
Debris. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I know this part in the notes you have where it seems like Wasp gets really big. I think that's just bad perspective.
Yeah,
I think they're supposed to be normal size.
It looks really weird, especially with the ships landing next to him. How all the ships look tiny, right?
Yeah. Yep. And the ships then move off to the side and get bigger as they get closer. So it's just shitty perspective. So they won the day, kinda. back at Lunt's office, Taurus has this fallen star, so he's got a piece of it.
They absolutely did not win the day.
Yeah, I guess that's not
the
true.
bad
I guess
guy
they drove
the
off
thing.
the bad guys.
They blew up a piece of
thing.
property, which they're very good at doing. That's it.
They mildly financially inconvenience the bad guy. So you're right. Like, he has the piece of the meteorite's enough to turn the Zodiac key. He puts it in like a little jar so we can use it for later. And we go back to it's like, oh shit, okay, that Zodiac key, oh Lord, he coming. We go back to the mansion here as he's doing so, where Simon has been stabilized, but he's still a firework.
Yeah.
Things are going.
He's still like
exploding.
Everyone's favorite person at the rave. He's just blasting pink graffiti everywhere.
Yeah. Then Hank is like, I don't know if we want him on the team.
I love like Gary, it's so great that this episode ends with Hank saying, this guy is sick, let's kick him off the team, that way we don't have to pay for his health insurance.
And that's the final moment of the Avengers.
That's it. That's how this ends. That's it.
Yeah. So pretty cool. That's a good way for the show to end.
You and I need to have a conversation about your definition of cool. That's what
with Hank Pym making sure somebody's fired to get them off Avengers benefits before they get really sick with energy. And that's the last thing Hank Pym, noted superhero, does.
Yeah. As we talked about, this ended with a whimper. And I can't imagine like a follow-up episode would really do much to sway my opinion about this. Like, I'm pretty sure the Avengers would stop the Zodiac from doing whatever the galactic convergence is or what have you, and lock them all up at the local police department or something by making them small. I don't think that there's a lot of redemption left for the show. Like, it's pretty awful all around. I am kind of like weirdly invested in it though. Like, by the end, I actually kind of was curious what was going to happen. I guess I have like Stockholm syndrome with this thing. I'm very surprised that it doesn't really end. Like, you heard me kind of fuck it up. Like, I thought for sure, like, oh, this meant that their plans were, at least set back a little bit, but not really. They're fine. The Avengers are not fine, and that's the end. And doing a 2-parter with Loki and his brother perhaps would not solve this. It just wasn't going. So it's just what a weird ending. Like, what a non-confident product this is. Yeah, this is. I mean, obviously, when you start a creative endeavor with the idea to sell merchandise, like, it's going to be a little creatively bankrupt from the beginning. And the idea of like, hey, we got to create this. Like, the stories of that being successful are all the exceptions to the rule and not the rule. Like, Transformers just happened to be cool, right? And happened to have some people working for it that like made it kind of interesting and neat, even though they were designed to sell toys. Here, it's just characters that pre-existed, that people already had affection for, made worse for the desire to sell something that's not even really, related to the characters. Like, Hawkeye shouldn't need, like, Hawkeye is basically a ninja, and you're going to put a bunch of armor on him, and then you're just going to have him act like a ninja anyway. It doesn't make any fucking sense whatsoever.
Well, and like, they just like, this is not faithful to the characters, really. Like, weirdly enough, like the most, like Scarlet Witch and I'd say like Ant-Man are fairly faithful during this. Falcon a little bit. But it's not a good representation of the characters, especially Hawkeye. And like, this doesn't seem like it should have been hard. Like, the Avengers have a big rogues gallery. You just do it as like a crime of the week thing. Have them do something, have the Avengers stop them. And make it kind of interesting and do some cool action. But it's so cheap. Like, nothing ever moves.
Yeah.
The reason why so many things have beam powers is because you don't have to animate them.
Yep.
You can do them all in post.
And
so just like no money went into this, no creativity went into it, no art. Like, it's just very artless.
And like, there's some glimmers of ideas there. Like, I think it would be interesting to see Jan explore her issues with her father being a weapons manufacturer person, right? Like, that's
especially with like if Tony Stark was there too.
Yeah,
because that's what he did. Like, that'd be awesome.
Have them bond on that shit. Like, yeah, I was totally that person, Jan, and like tiny little Ant-Man in the corner just feeling very bad overhearing the conversation.
Yep. And that's what causes him to create Ultron. Like, as he feels inadequate and he has to like prove himself, you know, like
we're so good at this, Gary.
I'm just like, I don't think we're that good at it, but we're like C- D+.
Sure.
And the show is not that, you know, like it's very easy to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
With this shit.
I will give points to the theme song. For most of the episodes that we did for this podcast, I edited in the theme song as the intro, and I got to listen to it a couple of times, and I don't know, man, there's something about that Avengers that I kind of dig. Yeah. So that's where I'm at in my life.
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, I think that song is catchy. There's a couple of things I liked about it, but mostly it's just been a horrible slog.
Yes.
And it sucks because I like the Avengers. I have affection for the Avengers. I wanted to see Avengers villains just because I'd never seen them before. I'm so familiar with X-Men and pretty familiar with Spider-Man. It just felt like a good chance to get a kind of a cool rogues gallery of people who did cool shit, and they just fucked it. You know, so there's that later Avengers series which is better about this. There's the kid one, like the Mighty Heroes or whatever, that's like very much for kids, but that's kind of goofy and fun. Mm-hmm. There's an episode of that with MODOK that's like really fun.
I think that may be the one that I like half watched in the background because it was on Netflix and I was like working on a big project or something, so I just wanted something on in the background because I remember MODOK coming up and being very excited that MODOK was in anything that I could be able to watch. So,
and it's you know, it's not perfect; it's just kind of cute. Yeah. You know, this didn't need to be perfect; it just needed to be good on some axis of quality, and it's not.
Gary, do you ever think the MCU would do a live action MODOK? I mean, like, no, right? Definitely not.
Well, they did Arnim Zola, in Captain America 2, who is also a real fucking weirdo.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? Like, they would just have to reinvent him. Like the same thing if they ever want to do Mojo, like they'll do Mojo, like Ultimate Mojo, who's just like a fat albino.
Yeah,
you know, like they just
less good.
It's less good, but I can't see them doing a good job with the, you know, same thing with MODOK. Like, MODOK will be a weird robot thing if they do MODOK.
We rewatched Deadpool 2 recently. We're in a big like kick of superhero movies, if you can't tell. And that the line that who was the samurai guy whose name not Silver Samurai, but
Shatterstar.
Shatterstar, thank you. He was like, I'm from the Mojoverse. That's not from here. It's just so fucking good, man. I love it.
The movie's really, really good.
Oh, dude, it's so great. I'm really excited about it.
Looking forward to talking about that at some point. All of that stuff with them recruiting X-Force is very funny.
Oh, dude, it's just the best. So yeah, that actually kind of brings us right to our the next thing that we're going to be covering for the show, which I think we're both going to be giving ourselves a little bit of a breather from 90s cartoons, early 2000s cartoons, and watching one of my favorite superhero movies, which is Deadpool 1. Yep.
Which I like the second one a lot better.
Yes.
Right? Like I love Deadpool 2. I love that movie. The second one, the first one is still good though, and we gotta do the first one before we do the second one. Chronologically, we would do that Wolverine movie first, but we're gonna save that because it's probably not gonna be good.
Yeah, and we need a palate cleanser coming after all this awful Avengers stuff. So I'm very much into Deadpool. So, and then what is going to be our main series that we cover after we do Deadpool?
Well, before we do the series, we're gonna do a feedback episode.
Yes.
So if you have commentary on Avengers United They Stand, the last couple X-Men movies we did, or Deadpool,
or some
hit us up,
or Spider-Man, because we did a couple of Spider-Man episodes.
Yeah. It's been a while since we've done a feedback episode. So if you have any feedback or questions or anything like that, hit us up at Duckfeed.tv/contact. And we'd really appreciate that. We want to hear your questions.
Yeah. You could also add us on Twitter, or you could use daysoffuturecast.com/contact. All of that stuff goes to the same place, just kind of depending on you. If you're on the Duckfeed Slack and you want to at me something in the channel, or you want to DM me something, just tell me like, hey, I want this on the feedback episode, and I'll copy and paste it. We've got like 3 or 4 pages worth, and we'll probably have some extra stuff in there as well, just to chit chat about.
Yep, looking forward to it. But after that, the next series we're doing is the 1990s Incredible Hulk
with Lou Ferrigno
series. Yes, is he? I'm sure he has a cameo in it because he does cameos for every Hulk thing. Yeah. So this is the not the 80s cartoon and not the 70s TV show. Like I will never do that 70s TV show, even if this extended to be like a Marvel MCU thing. Like that show is so fucking boring.
Gary, Lou Ferrigno is the Hulk in every single episode.
He does like the growls and stuff.
Yeah, he's not listed as Bruce Banner, but he's listed as Hulk all episodes, and there's somebody else for Gray Hulk, and so enjoy for that.
Yeah. it would be extremely weird if like if he just did his voice was the Bruce Banner voice. Not to make fun of him for being deaf or anything, but like it would just be a brave choice.
Do you
I guess.
Wow, there's actually some people in this, like because we talked about doing this and I hadn't actually had a chance to go through the cast list. Who plays Rick Jones? Can you guess?
I don't know.
Luke Perry.
Oh, that's actually kind of good casting. Like he looks like him.
This also has Mark Hamill and Matt Frewer. So
ooh,
yeah,
and Kathy Ireland.
Yeah, this is gonna go some places, man. I'm kind of excited about this.
Mark Hamill's in all these shits.
It's weird because like all of these on this casting list, like they're all like 5 episodes, 6 episodes, but there's like 20 something episodes of this. So
man, Richard Mole is the Abomination and also Homeless Man.
Sure, yeah, I like that.
The famous Hulk villain, Homeless Man.
Homeless Man.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah.
For this, like, I don't know a whole lot about Hulk mythology, but I like the Hulk.
Yeah, I don't go deep on the Hulk stuff. I'm coming after Thor Ragnarok. It's hard not to like that dude as a character in the MCU right now because it's so great. But all of his solo stuff, like the solo movies, have all been fucking garbage. Like, just like I know people on the internet like to argue about which garbage movie is slightly less garbage than the other, but both of them are just garbage. And like you have to go back all the way back to that TV show to get good Hulk stuff. And I think that might be just some rose tinted glasses that I remember liking that as a kid. Like I probably just liked the Hulk in purple pants. So
oh yeah, like the TV show is unwatchable now.
Is it really? Okay,
like
I haven't tried to go back. So
no, it's just very boring. Like they he doesn't spend very much time as the Hulk. Like he goes into a new town, a wealthy landowner is being kind of a jerk. They spend 40 minutes doing kind of bland investigation with 70s pacing. Mm-hmm. And then he turns in the Hulk and punches guys for like 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking in my head. So,
yeah.
Well, I can't wait to get into some dumbass cartoons about the Hulk. I'm looking forward to it, especially with all the star power behind it. Like at least they're spending some money on this one. So,
I'm excited about it.
So just to recap that, the next episode of Days of Future Cast will be on Deadpool 1. The episode following that will be a feedback episode, so get your feedback in early, and then we'll start The Incredible Hulk from 1996, and we'll at that point I'll probably update daysoffuturecast.com/schedule so you can kind of keep track of all of the episodes there. If they like this episode, what should they do, Gary?
You should go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv and hit us up there. A couple bucks a month gets you a lot. At $5 a month, you get a bunch of bonus episodes and you get access to the Slack. But most of all, you're kind of supporting the network and supporting us, and we really appreciate it. It is how we keep the lights on here, and also how both me and Cole make our living. So this is how we pay rent and stuff.
Yeah.
Got to have a place to podcast.
And we and we get it. Some people can't afford to give it, like money is tight all over. We definitely understand that. If money is tight for you, then go rob a bank and then donate a lot of money to the Patreon at once, so we can get that 1 month process, and then you can figure out what to do after that. Try not to get caught, or tell a friend.
Either one of those two things. One of those two things. You can either do that, or you can go to Duckfeed.tv/store and pick up 2 episodes of Epic Suffering for $3.
Sure, I mean,
so, two options.
Be fun about it.
It's been a minute since we got a rating or review. So that's also very helpful. Rating and reviewing the show on iTunes or talking about us on Twitter is very appreciated. And that helps other people learn about the show. So even if you cannot afford to support the show on Patreon, you might know somebody who can.
Yep,
so
absolutely.
Turning more people onto the show, that helps.
But all of that, I just want to say thank you for listening. That's the bare minimum you can do, and we really, really appreciate everyone listening and talking about us with the show. So thank you for doing that, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with Deadpool 1.
Yeah, excited about that.